What's up, everyone? Justin from Real World Strength, and we are back with Technique Talk Thursday. So last week I went over running, I went over how to gump it up, and now in keeping with the theme of movie characters, this will pretty much just watch literally any Tom Cruise movie ever, and you'll see him at some point, you'll see him sprint like a madman with or without reason. He actually has very good sprint technique, and today we will talk about what constitutes good sprint technique. Along with, I'll actually show you kind of what it looks like in practice. So all of the things that we went over last week with running, they all still apply with sprinting. You know, we still want to have the feet land directly underneath the hips. We still want to land basically flat-footed. We're not stomping the heel into the ground, but you know, the heel does still make contact. We're still emphasizing propelling with the hips, really using the glutes, and we want to keep the arms in, we want to bounce off of the feet. So that's running. For sprinting, we just take all those same principles and just kind of jack up the volume a little bit. So for the main things that we're going to change here, for the hands, instead of being nice and relaxed, we want to have a lot of tension through the arms. The fingers are going to be spread out as wide as you can get them. And we're going to be driving the arms down and back and forward and up. We still want to keep them in very close to the body, but instead of just kind of keeping them in just like, you know, nice and close and not really having a lot of tension there, there's a lot of tension through the arms. So for the feet, you're actually going to want to think about having them in contact with the ground as little time as possible. So what this is going to mean, we're going to alternate from dorsiflexion, which is pulling the toes up, to plantar flexion, which is punching the toes down. So from up, bam, punch them down. And that's going to be with each stride. Speaking of stride, I want you to think, instead of just bouncing from foot to foot, now we're going to be jumping vertically as hard as you can on each stride. Now, I don't want you to think about reaching forward, because that's going to end up increasing your ground contact time and it will ultimately slow you down. I want you to just think about jumping up as hard as you can, which incidentally is also going to emphasize that propulsion from the hips. And in addition to that vertical jump, I want you to think move them feet as fast as you possibly can. So I will splice in some video to show you kind of how we're building upon that good running technique for our sprints. And hopefully you'll be ready to tear ass down the tracker next time out.
So to go over the three main points for sprinting, first let's look at the hands. Notice how there's a lot of tension through the arms. The fingers are spread. The arms aren't just chilling next to the body. We're actually using them to help drive and kind of counter those strides. Next, let's look at the feet. So again, notice how the feet are landing directly under the body. There's that emphasis on dorsiflexion, pulling the toes up and pushing off that plantar flexion. And for the stride itself, look at how we've got that nice, that vertical leap. At least it feels like a vertical leap as you're doing it. And we're really making sure to nail that full hip extension right there. Bam. That's some hip extension right there. And also, just as with running, notice how the foot is landing directly underneath the hips. It's exactly where you want it to be. It's not slowing you down, landing out in front of you every single time. So that's it. That's it for sprinting and running. Hopefully you got something out of it, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.